All right, guys. So today I wasn't on as long, and some people were real sad about that. Arthur's like, "Why wasn't you on as long or left early?" So I'll be reading the full tonight. Um, Happy birthday, Arthur's mama. I feel like a sneeze coming, and apparently I spread my cooties very far to someone in the chat. Cooties. Shut up. So last night was a lot of wind and and I get up and there's branches all over the place. They didn't get my car, but the branches all over the place. Hey, I contacted like the neighbor and I'm thinking like I have to get this trim back again and dealt with. And the person is like, really should cut this tray out because it's an ash tray and they said it's like nothing but problems is that they grow really fast. There's not a tree that grows this fast. And you cut it, grow, and so they're like, and the roots will go under your house. And I thought about it, and I got attached to the tree once I realized I was like, um, how much money and problems it's costing me over this time, and that it would have had to pay anyway something. So I figured, okay, so they're coming in the morning, and I just know some of you guys will want to see some of the happenings. I'll see what I can do, if only to show you later. Hopefully, none of the guys are, that are going to be doing because they said they're going to need 2 trucks, a lot of like man tools. Some of you guys find that very interesting. um, so it'd be expensive, but I don't think I have to pay all at once. Um, Long day, work. With that, I had my sister's course. We're dealing with debts. I just look so forward to. So happy. They hears, feels to hear it back reading to you. The um you single. Well, I might not be if you wanna trim that tree down for less than $7,000. No, that's okay. I hired hopefully a professional. They said they were licensed. Uh, yeah. Um, so where last night we left off, well, I got a coffee here. I got a warm. I'm trying to make sure this doesn't fall down before I turn. It was like sad. Okay, we're good. Okay, we're good. Dealing with getting her bracelet back and then met with May, who was saying like, that's my bracelet. Get down. Uh, like all these attacks. I feel sore, like especially by like my the back of my shoulders here. I mean, it doesn't hurt to be like laying down, but I'm just sharing. No, broke down in Oklahoma. Oh, and that's on the rental vehicle, right? Jeez. Okay. Well, while you're broke down, why don't you try to relax a little bit and I'll read to you? Okay. Real. In my dream, we're free on the river. The Model T engine briny fixed to the back of the boat drives us up water easy. Like we like we haven't got any weight at all. Queenie sits up top of the cabin like she's riding an elephant, her head tossed back, her hair flowing out from under her feathery red hat. She's singing a song she learned from an old Irish man in one of the shanty camps. Ain't she pretty as a queen? Briny asks. The sun is warm, and the song sparrows sing, and the fat bass jump out of the water. A flock of white pelicans flies over in a big old arrow shape pointing north, which means the whole summer's still ahead of us. Oh, thank you, Jerry. There's not a paddle wheeler or a flatboat or a tug or a barge in sight anywhere. The river is ours, only ours. And what's that make you? Briny asks me in my dream. Princess Rill of Kingdom Arcadia, I yell out. Briny sets a honeysuckle flower crown on my head and pronounces it so, just like the kings in the storybooks. In the morning when I wake, there's a sweet taste still in my mouth. It lasts until I open my eyes and I think about why we're all five in Queenie and Briny's bed, flopped across the mattress like a fisherman's catch, sweaty and slick. Queenie's not here. It barely gets through my head before I know what's pulled me from my dream. Somebody's knocking on the door. My heart jumps up and I jump with it, tugging one of Queenie's shawls over my nightgown while I cross the shanty floor. It's Zed on the other side of the door, and even though the window glass, or through the window glass, I can see that his white whiskered face is long and sad. My gut turns into a slip knot. Outside, the storm's gone. It'll be a nice day. The morning air's turned warm and steamy, but I open the door and step outside and feel cold right through the old cotton nightie Queenie sewed a ruffle to because I gotten so tall. Queenie said a girl my age hadn't ought to have her legs showing so much. I pull the shawl tighter over my chest, not because Zed or because I got any woman parts to hide. Queenie says that'll happen when it's time, and it just ain't time yet. But because there's a boy in Zed's John bow, he's a skinny thing but tall. He's got dark skin like a Cajun or an Indian. Not quite a man yet, I'd say, but older than me, maybe 15 or so. Zed's always got somebody under his wing. He's the grandpappy of the whole river. The kid hides his face under a raggy newsboy cap, looking at the bottom of the boat, not at me. Zed skips the introducing. I know what that means, but I wish I didn't. Zed's hand feels heavy on my shoulder. It's meant for a comfort, but I want to run away from it, scat off somewhere down the bank, my feet flying so fast they barely leave tracks in the washed up sand. Tears shove up my throat, and I swallow hard. Fern's face presses against the window behind me. Figures she'd wake up and follow along. She never lets me get far. Queenie's babies didn't make it. Zed's not one to chase around the bush with his words. Something dies inside me. A little brother or sister I was planning to hold like a new China doll. Not either one? The doc said no, couldn't save neither of 'em. Said it wouldn't have made no matter if and Briney'd got your mama to the hospital sooner. The babies just wasn't meant for this world, that's all. I shake my head hard, trying to wick those words out of my ears. Like water after a swim. They can't be true. Not in Kingdom Arcadia. The river is our magic. Briney always promised to take care of us. What'd Briney say? He's pretty broke up. I left him there with your mama. They had some hospital papers to sign and whatnot. They hadn't told her about the babies yet. Reckon Briney will when she's woke up good. She'll be all right, Doc said. But I know Queenie. She won't be all right. Nothing makes her happier than a brand new sweet baby to cuddle. Zed tells me he figures he'd better go back to the hospital. Briney wasn't in a good way this morning. I was going to see if There wasn't a woman down in the river camp who'd come look after y'all youngins, but the pickin' was sparse. Been some trouble with the police, and most all the shanty folk done took to the river. I brought Silas to watch out over you till I get your daddy back home. He motions to the boy in the boat, who looks up surprised. He didn't know that Zed meant to leave him, I guess. We can't look after ourselves, all right. Mostly, I just want Queenie and Briny to come home and get us down the river. I want that so bad. I hurt for it deep underneath the knot in my belly. We ain't got nothing to feed him. Camellia is in the door now, offering up her 2 cents. Well, good morning to you, Miss Rosie Ray of Sunshine. Zed calls Camellia that all the time on account that she's the exact opposite of that very thing. I was gonna go gig us some frogs, she announces it like she's been made captain. Yeah. No, you ain't, I tell her. We're not supposed to leave the boat, none of us. Zed points a finger to my sister. You kids stay put. He narrows an eye back toward the river. Don't know what spooked the folks out of Mud Island Camp. It's good y'all are over in this little backwater by yourselves, anyhow. Just keep quiet. Don't be calling any attention to nothing. Something new weighs on my chest, something heavy. Worry scratches a setting spot inside me, and it takes up nesting. I don't want to leave. Fern sidles over to hang on my leg. I pick her up and snuggle her, wild curls under my chin. She's a comfort. Gabion comes out, and I pick him up too, and their weight pins my feet to the floor. Queenie's shawl binds tight around my shoulders and squeezes into my skin. Zed puts me in charge again, and he brings the boy Silas onto the Arcadia. Unfolded, Silas is taller than I thought. He's skinny as a rail, but he'd be handsome if it weren't for the busted lip and the shiner. If he was hoboing trains, like Zed said, he's lucky the railroad bulls didn't do worse to him. He hikes himself up on the porch rail, like that's where he means to stay. You watch after them now, Zed tells him. Silas nods, but it's clear enough he ain't happy about it. A Cooper's hawk flies by looking for prey, and he watches it pass, then keeps his face pointed toward Memphis. Zed leaves food behind, a bag of cornmeal, a bundle of carrots, 10 eggs, and some saltfish. Silas watches as Zed climbs into his boat and disappears. You hungry? I ask him. He turns my way, and it's then I remember I'm tiny. I feel the sticky air touching my skin where the neck pulls low from the babies on my hips. Water in the ear after swimming. I heard there's a bunch of shit in the Potomac, or what they call sewer water. So try swimming there. I think it's good for the swimming this time of year. He turns my way. Okay. Silas looks away like he noticed. Reckon. His eyes are dark as midnight on water. They reflect everything he looks at. A heron bird fishing nearby, branches drooping from a half-broke tree, the morning sky with its foam white clouds, me. You cook? The way he says it makes it sound like he's already decided I can't. I lift my chin, square up my shoulders. Queenie's shawl cuts in deeper. I don't think I like Silas much. Camille, hush up. I sit down the little kids and push them toward her and watch after them. Where's Lark? Still in bed. Look after her, too. Lark can slip off quick and quiet as a whisper. One time she laid up in a little clearing by a creek and fell flat asleep. And it was a whole day and a half the night before we found her. Scared, Queenie clean out of her mind. Reckon I better make sure you don't burn the place down. Silas. I decided it right then. I don't like this boy at all. But when we go through the door, he looks my way. and his split lip turned upward on one side, and I think maybe he ain't so bad. We light a fire in the stove and cook the best we can. Between Silas and me, neither of us knows much. The stove is Queenie's territory, and I've never cared a thing about it. I'd rather be outside watching the river and its animals and listening to Brian about knights and castles and Indians out west. And Bryony's seen the whole world, near as I can figure. Silas has seen a bit himself. While we cook and sit down to eat, he tells tales about riding the rails and thumbing his way across 5 states and scratching up food in hobo camps and living off the land like a wild Indian. Why ain't you got a mama? Camellia asks as she finishes the last of a hoe cake that's just a little bit burnt on the edges. Lark nods because she wants to know too, but she's too shy to ask. Silas waves a fancy silver fork that Briny dug up in the sand by the wreck of an old river bum. Had a mama, liked her all right, till I was 9, and then I left and ain't seen her since. How come? I look hard at Silas to see if he's teasing. As much as I miss Queenie already, I can't imagine being away from your mama on purpose. She married a fella that liked drinking whiskey and handing out whippings. I took me a year of that, and I figured I was better off making my own way. The sparkle leaves his eye for a minute, and there's nothing left but dark. But quick as it's there, he shrugs and smiles, and the little dents come back in his cheeks. I struck off with a harvest crew that was moving through, went clear up to Canada, picking apples and combining wheat. After that was over, worked my way back south again. When you was just 10, Camellia smacks her lips to let him know she's not believing a word of it. You done all that, I just bet. Smooth as a cat, he turns in his chair, lifts up the tail of his faded shirt, and shows us the scars across his back. All 5 of us jerk away from the table. Even Camellia hasn't got a smart mouth answer now. Be glad if you got a nice mama and daddy. Silas looks hard at her. Don't ever get it in your head to leave them behind. If they're good to you, some sure enough ain't. We all go quiet for a minute, and tears build in Lark's eyes. Silas sops up the last of his egg and drinks a swig of water. He looks at us over the rim of the tin cup and frowns like he can't figure out what we're long-faced about. Say a little bit. He reaches out and tweaks Lark's nose, and her lashes flutter like butterfly wings. Did I ever tell you about the night I met Banjo Bill and his dancing dog Henry? Just like that, he's off on another story and then another. Time goes by in a wink while we finish the last of the food and then clean up the mess. Your cooking ain't half bad. Silas licks his lips after we're done washing dishes in the pail on the porch. By then, Fern's got her dress on wrong side out because she's changed herself out of her nightie, and Gabian's running around half naked, looking for somebody to clean him up after he sneaked to the outhouse off the back of the shanty all by himself. It's a good thing he didn't fall right through into the river. There's no bottom on a shanty boat outhouse, just the water. I tell Camellia to take him on the porch and dunk his rear in the river and then dry him off. It'll be easiest. Camelia's nostrils flare. The only thing that scares her in the whole wide world is poop, which is exactly the reason I'm making her go clean Gabby. She deserves it. She hasn't helped with the thing all morning. Melia, our baby brother, cheers as his fat little legs wobble him toward the door, bare bottom. I'm Betsy. My sister sneers at me, then whips open the screen and drags Gabian out, pulling him up by one arm so that he stands on his tippy toes. I'll do it, Lark whispers, hoping to end the fight. You let Camellia see after it. You're not big enough. Silas and I look at each other, and he smiles a little. Ain't you ever going to get dressed? I look down and realize I never did change, and I never even thought about it. I was so caught up in Silas's stories. Guess I better, I say, and laugh at myself as I get my dress down from the hook and then stand there holding it. You gotta go outside, though, and no peeking. There's been a funny little thought in my head while Silas and me have been cooking and taking care of the babies. I've been play pretending like I was the mama and Silas was the daddy, and this was our house. It's helped me not think about Queenie and Bryony still being gone. But there's no way I'd get undressed in front of him or anybody. I've come up big enough this past year that I dress behind the curtains in the shanty like Queenie does. I wouldn't stand still for somebody seeing me in the all together any more than I'd let somebody whip me across my back and leave scars. Heck, Silas says and rolls his eyes. Why'd I be looking? You ain't nothing but a kid. My skin goes hot from head to toe and my cheeks boil. Outside the screen door, Camellia laughs. I blush harder. If I could, I'd knock her and Silas both off into the water right now. And take the little kids out with you, I snap. A woman needs privacy. How would you know anything about that? You ain't no woman. You ain't nothing but a little curly-headed Cupid doll. Silas teases, but I don't think it's funny, especially when Camellia can hear. On the porch, she's lined up with Fern and Lark, enjoying the show. Every muscle in my body goes stiff. I don't get mad easy, but when I do, it's like fire inside me. Well, you ain't nothing but a stick boy. The wind don't even have to slow down to blow around you. That's how skinny you are. I square up on him, hateful as I can, and poke my fist into my hips. At least I don't got hair that'd do to mop a floor with. He grabs his hat off the hook and stomps out the door. From someplace near the gangplank, he yells, You want to join the circus? That's what you want to do. You could be a clown. I get a look at myself in the mirror on the wall, and there's blonde curls flying everywhere, and my face is red as a woodpecker's head. Before I can even catch hold of how I look, I'm running to the door to holler out. Well, you can just keep walking, Silas. Silas, whatever your last name is, if you got one. We don't need you anyhow. And on shore, he drops down to a squat all of a sudden and bats a hand at me. I can't make out his face under the hat, but it's clear enough there's trouble. He's seen something in the woods. The heat of my skin changes direction and sucks inward. Yeah, you can just keep walking, Camellia shouts, jumping into the wrangle. Get off our boat, stick boy. Silas glances over, shoves his palm at us again. The brush closes around him as he scoots in. You ain't hiding. I see you there. Hush, Camellia. I whip open the screen door and yank Fern and Lark inside. Camellia gives me a crosswise frown. She's bent over the rail, dangling Gabion by his arms. His bottom swirls in the water while he kicks and giggles. Camellia pretends to drop him and then catches his arms again, and he lets out a squeal before I can get to them. Come on inside. Leaning out, I reach for my brother's arm, but Camellia swats me away and lets Gabby dangle by one hand. She's having fun, and it's hot inside. Her thick dark hair falls forward, the tips reaching to the water, touching it like a spill of ink. You want to go swimming? She asks Gabby. For a minute, I think she's going to climb into the water with him. On shore, Silas pokes out of the brush and puts a finger to his lips, trying to throw quiet our way. Something's wrong. I catch Gabriel's hand and swing him up like a wishbone, bringing my sister with him. Ow! She's mad when her elbow hits the rail. Get inside. Down shore, the leaves shiver apart, and I see black. A man's hat, maybe. Somebody's out there. Camellia snorts. You just want that boy to come back. She can't see Silas, but he's probably not 10 feet from where a branch snaps and a raven takes off, calling out complaints. There, see? Camellia catches sight of the black. It's somebody coming for sure, but instead of going in the door, Camellia slips around toward the other side of the boat. I'll sneak off the back and check who it is. No, I hiss, but the truth is I'm not sure what to do. I want to toss off the lines and push the Arcadia out of the sand and take to the river. The water's still and calm this morning, so it'd be easy for us to put her out, except I wouldn't dare try it. With nobody but Camellia and me and maybe Silas to keep the Arcadia from hitting a bar or getting plowed through by a barge or a paddle wheeler, there's no telling what could happen. Let's get inside, I say. Maybe he'll move on about his business. But who'd have down this little backwater where there's nothing around? Maybe it's just somebody about squirreling, Camellia says hopefully. Maybe he'd give us one dinner if we're nice. A squirrel? She knows how to be sweet when she wants to. When somebody's got sugar candy to hand out and frog cakes to share around a campfire. Zed told us to keep quiet, and Briney tan us good if he found out. Briney's never tanned any one of us, but he threatens sometimes. The idea worries Camellia enough that she hurries across the porch with me, and we go inside. We bar the doors and climb on the big bed and pull the curtain and wait and listen. I think I can hear the man walking on shore. Then I think he must have left. Maybe he was just a hunter or a hobo. Halloo, the boats! Shh! My voice trembles. Wide, worried eyes turn my way. You grow up on the river, you know to be mindful of strangers. The river's a place men take to sometimes when they're running from the bad things they've done someplace else. Camellia leans close. That ain't Zed. Her whisper ruffles the fine hairs on my neck. The hull rocks a little. Someone's trying the plank. Lark scoots close, and Fern crawls into my lap, her cheek pushing against my heart. The Arcadia sways toward shore, tipped by the man's full weight. He's big, whoever he is. Silas isn't any match for him. I push a finger to my lips. The freeze the way fawns do when the doe leaves them behind so she can go feed. The man is on the porch now. Halloo, the boat, he says again. Go away, there's nobody here. He tries the door, the handle turning slowly. Lou in the boat? The door hits the bar and can't go further. A shadow hovers in the square of window light on the shanty floor. A man's head, the outline of a hat. There's a stick or a bat in his hand. He taps it against the glass. A policeman? I'm afraid it is. The police come after shantyboat folk when they feel like it. They raid the camps, rough up the river rats, take what they want away. That's one reason we always tie up by ourselves unless Briney's got some particular need for other people. I help you, officer? Silas's voice stops the stranger as he crosses to the other window to look in. Their shadows stretch along the floor together, one head longer than the other. You live here, son? Nope, I was just out hunting. My daddy's over yonder a ways. Some children live here. The voice isn't hateful, but it means business. What if Silas gets himself arrested for lying? Don't reckon I know. I just now seen the place. That's so, is it? Think you might be handing me a fib there, little river rat. I hear you talking to somebody on this boat. No, sir. Silas sounds sure as sunrise. I've seen these people go off in a skiff. Oh, a couple hours ago, maybe. Must have been somebody down in the river camp. You was hearing just now. Sound goes a long ways on the river. The man takes a quick step towards Silas. Don't tell me about the river, sonny boy. This is my river, and I've been hunting these kids half the morning on it. You get them to come out so I can take them into town to their mama and daddy. When Silas doesn't answer, the officer bends close, their shadows connecting at the face. Sonny boy, I'd sure hate to see you land yourself in trouble with the law. How'd you get that shiner on your eye anyhow? You been into something you shouldn't be? You got folks looking after you, or you astray? My Uncle Zed, he looks after me. I thought you said you came out here hunting with your daddy. Him too. You lie to a policeman, you find yourself in jail, river rat. I ain't lying. I hear other voices nearby now. Men yelling in the woods and a dog barking. Tell the kids to come on. Mama and Daddy sent us after them. What's their daddy's name then? Camelia and me look at each other. Her eyes are as big as walnuts. She shakes her head. She's thinking the same thing I am. Bridie wouldn't send the police here, and if he did send them, they would have known right where to find the boat. What does this man want with us? We stare out the gap in the curtain as the big shadow lifts the little one up by the shirt collar. Silas coughs and gags. Don't you sass mouth me, boy. I didn't come for you, but you give me any more trouble, we'll just take you with us. You'll see where scrawny little gutter snipes like you wind up in this city. I'm out of the bed before Camelia can latch on and try to stop me. No, real no! She grabs my nightie, but it slips through her fingers. When I open the door, the first thing I see is Silas's feet dangling 6 inches off the deck. His face is purple. He tries a punch, and the officer just laughs. You want at me, boy? How about we put you under that water a minute or two and cool you off? Stop, don't! I can hear the other men coming. There's some on shore, and off the starboard there's a motorboat rumbling up. I don't know what we've done wrong other than be river gypsies, but we're caught for sure. It won't help for Silas to get himself killed or hauled off with us. The officer drops Silas all at once so that he lands against the shanty wall, hitting his head hard. Go on, Silas, I say, but my voice shakes so bad the words are barely anything. You go home now. You ain't even supposed to be here. We want to go see Mama and Daddy. I figure it'll go better if we cooperate. By myself, I might be able to jump off the porch and get away to the woods before the men could catch me. But with my little sisters and Gabion, there's no way it'd work. One thing I know about Bryony is he'd want us to stick together no matter what. I straighten my back, look at the police officer, and try to be as grown up as I can. He smiles. That's a good girl now. My daddy okay? Sure he is. And my mama? Real fine. She asked for you to come visit. I don't even have to see it in his eyes to know that's a lie. It ain't possible that Queenie's real fine right now. Wherever she is, she's heartbroken about the babies. I swallow hard and feel it go all the way down, sharp like a piece of ice chip fresh off the block. I'll get the other kids. The officer steps up, grabs my arm like he means to stop me. Ain't you a pretty little river rat? His tongue slides across his teeth, and for the first time he's close enough that I can see his face under the shiny hat brim. His eyes are gray and they're mean, but they're not cold like I thought they'd be. They're interested, except I don't know why. His look moves from my face down my neck toward the shoulder that's hanging out of the nightgown right now. Somebody ought to feed you up a little. Behind him, Silas wobbles to his feet, blinks, and staggers. He settles a hand on the axe that's standing by the woodpile. No, without saying it. Doesn't he hear down shore and the motorboat coming closer? From inside the shanty, there's a soft, high squeak, just loud enough that I catch it. The outhouse door. Camelia's trying to sneak away through the back. Oh. Do something! My little brother just got off the pot. I need to clean them up before we go, or there'll be poop everywhere. Unless you want to do it. It's the only thing I can think of. Men don't like messy babies. Bridie won't touch one at all except to dunk in the river if Queenie or Camelia or me aren't there to do it. The officer curls his lip, lets me go, and turns to listen over his shoulder. Silas jerks his hand away from the axe, stands with fists gripped at the ends of his skinny arms. Better hurry along. The policeman's lips spread into a smile, but there's no kindness in it. Your mama's waiting. You go on now, Silas. Just get. I stop in the doorway and stare at him, thinking, go, run. The officer looks from me to Silas. He reaches toward his belt, toward the gun, the club, the black metal wristlets. What's he planning to do? Go on, get, I yell, and give Silas a shove. Bridie and Zed wouldn't want you here. Our eyes lock. He shakes his head a little. I nod mine. He closes his lashes real slow, then opens them again and turns and runs down the gangplank. There's one in the water! Another policeman yells from the riverbank. The men in the motorboat holler, and the kicker throttles up. Camellia! I spin around and rush inside, the officer's heavy footsteps coming after me. He shoves me, and I land against the cook stove, and he thunders to the back, where the stern door is hanging open. Fern, Lark, and Gabion are clustered along the rail. The man throws them back inside hard, and they land in a pile, screaming and crying. Melia, Melia, Gabion wails and points toward the outhouse where our sister has shinnied down the privy hole into the river. She's sloughing her way toward the shore now, her wet nightgown clinging to her long sun-brown legs. A police officer runs after her, and the men in the motorboat follow along in the water. She climbs a drift pile as quick and nimble as a doe. Gabion lets out a high-pitched scream. The policeman on the back porch yanks his pistol from its holster. No! I try to lunge forward, but Fern's got my legs. We land on the floor, toppling Lark with us. She lets out a sharp cry, and the last thing I see before the woodbox blocks my view is the man on shore leaping over a branch, stretching out a hand and catching Camellia by her long dark hair. When I come up again, she's fighting like crazy, kicking and screaming and growling. Her arms and legs flail as the policeman holds her away from his body. The guy in the motorboat throw their heads back and laugh like drunks on pool halls by. It takes 3 of them to get my sister in the boat and 2 to hold her down once she's there. When they pull up to Arcadia, they've got Camellia pinned on the floor. They're muddy and mad because she smells like the bottom of an outhouse, and she's gotten it on everybody. The officer on the Arcadia stands himself in the doorway, crossing his arms and leaning like he's comfortable there. You get your clothes changed real nice now, out here where I can see. We're not going to leave anybody else running off. I'm not about to get dressed in front of him, so I take care of Gaby, Lark, and Fern first. Finally, I just put my dress on over my nightie, even though it's way too hot for that. I like Camellia. She's feisty. She reminds me of myself as a kid. And she's got the dark hair. And that's what makes me think, what's her name? Avery might be related through Camellia, because they keep saying Avery has dark hair. And so does Camellia, but I don't know. I think they're, well, they think that they're the police. They maybe be the police. I don't know. And yeah, they're kidnapping them for, I don't know why yet. Yeah, I don't know how that came about. Yeah. Okay. I do what he says and follow him from the shanty, pulling the door closed behind us. I can't swallow or breathe or think. Good thing the other 4 weren't so tough. One of the policemen says he has Camellia stuffed to the floor of the motorboat with her arms pinned up behind her. This one's a wildcat. Smells more like a wild hog, the other officer in the boat jokes. He helps us settle in, lifting Gabion and then Fern and then Lark and telling them to sit on the floor. Camellia gives me a wicked look when I do the same. She thinks this is my fault, that I should have fought back and stopped it somehow. Maybe I should have. She'll like these all right. One of the men hollers as the motor kicks up and pushes us away from the Arcadia. He puts his big hand on Lark's head, and she ducks away, crawling up against me. Fern does the same, only Gabion doesn't know enough to be scared. She likes the blondes, don't she? The officer who came on the Arcadia laughs. Not sure what she'll do with little Stinky here. He wags his chin at Camellia, and she hawks up a wad of spit and sends it at him. He lifts a hand like he'll swat her, but then he just laughs and wipes the mess on his trousers. To the Dawson warehouse law again? The man running the motor asks, last I heard. I don't know how long we're on the water. We travel across the river, then toward the channel where the Wolf pours into the Mississippi. When we round the tip of Mud Island, Memphis comes into full view. The big buildings stretch toward the sky like monsters waiting to swallow us whole. I think about jumping out into the water. I think about making a run for it. I think about fighting. I watch boats pass by, tugs and paddle wheelers and fishing boats and barges, even a shanty boat. I think about yelling and waving my arms and calling for help, but who would help us? These men are the police. Are they taking us to jail? A hand settles on my shoulder, like someone's been reading my thoughts. It stays there until we finally dock. Up the hill, I can see more buildings. You be real good now and keep your brother and sisters out of trouble. The officer from the Arcadia whispers against my ear. Then he tells the other men to hold the wildcat back a minute till she's seen the four of us. We march up the boardwalk in a line, me carrying Gabion on my hip. The clang clang swish of machines and the smell of hot tar catch me, and I lose the sense of the river. We cross a strait, and I hear a woman singing, a man yelling, a hammer striking metal. The loose fluff from cotton bales floats in the air like snow. In a scrappy bush at the edge of a parking lot, a cardinal sings his sharp song, Weep, Weep, Weep. There's a car nearby, a big car. A man in a uniform gets out and walks around to the back door and opens it so a woman can heave her way out of the sea. She stands looking at us, squinting against the sun. She's not a young woman or an old woman, but someplace in between. She's thick and heavy, her body settling in rolls inside her flowered dress. Her hair is short. Some of it's gray and some of it's brown. Her face makes me think of a heron bird. That's the way she watches while the policemen line us up. Her gray eyes move quick and jerky, tracking everything that's going on. There should be 5, she says. The other's coming, Miss Tan, the officer says. She was a shade more trouble, tried to get away in the river. Her tongue clicks against her teeth. Tis, tis, tis. You wouldn't do that, would you? She fingers Fern's chin and leans down until they're almost nose to nose. You wouldn't be a bad girl, would you? Fern's blue eyes go wild and she shakes her head. What a lovely little bunch of foundlings, the woman, Miss Tan, says. 5 precious blondes with curls. How perfect. She claps her hands and folds them under her chin. Her eyes crinkle at the corners, and her mouth presses tight so that she's smiling, but her lips are gone. Only 4, the officer nods toward Camellia, who's coming up from the river with a policeman holding her by the scruff of the neck. I don't know what they've told her, but she's not fighting anymore. Miss Tan frowns. Well, that one didn't get the looks in the family, did she? She's rather common. I suppose we'll find a taker for her, though. We almost always do. She pulls back, putting a hand over her nose. Good heavens, what is that smell? Miss Tan isn't happy. When she sees up close what a mess my sister is, she tells the officers to put Camellia on the floorboard of the car and the rest of us on the seat. There are 2 other kids on the floorboard already, a blonde-headed girl about Lark's age and a boy who's a little bigger than Gabion. Both of them look at me with big, scared brown eyes. They don't say a word or move an inch. Miss Tan tries to take Gabion out of my arms before I climb in. She frowns when I hold on. Behave yourself, she says, and I let go. Once we're all in the car, she holds Gabion in her lap, standing him up so he can see out the windows. He bounces and points and babbles excited. He's never been in a car before. My, look at those curls. She slides her fingers along my baby brother's head, pulling his corn silk hair upward so it has peaks on the top like the baby dolls at the county fair. Gabion points out the window, cheering, "Oh, see, oh, see!" He spotted a little girl having her picture made on a black and white pinto pony in front of a big house. We just need to wash the stench of the river from you, don't we? Then you'll be a fine little boy. Miss Tan's nose crinkles up. I wonder what she means by that. Who's going to clean us up and why? Maybe the hospital won't let us in this way, I tell myself. Maybe we have to wash up first to see Queenie. His name's Gaby, and I say, so she'll know what to call him. Gabby for short. Her head turns quick, the way a cat's does when it's seen a mouse in the pantry. She looks at me like she's forgot I was in the car, restraining her from answering questions unless you're asked. Her arm snakes out, fleshy and pale, and surrounds Lark, pulling her away. I look down at the two scared kids huddled together on the floor, and then at Camellia. My sister's eyes tell me that she's figured out what I already know, even though I don't want to. We're not headed to the hospital to see our mommy and daddy. Oh, chapter 7, Avery. Ugh. I don't think they were in school. Because I'm wondering, like, if they were in school, like, for notice or something. No. I can't believe they were able to do this to so many thousands of kids. Okay. This woman. The retirement home lies bathed in soft morning sunlight, even with the newly added parking lot on what was once a sprawling front lawn. Magnolia Manor speaks of a bygone era, of the elegance of afternoon teas and glittering cotillions and formal dinners on the long mahogany table that still stands in the dining room. It's easy to picture Scarlett O'Hara fanning herself beneath the moss-draped live oaks that shade the white column veranda. I remember this place's former life, if only a tad. My mother brought me to a baby shower here when I was 9 or 10. Driving over, she shared the story of attending an important cocktail reception here for her cousin who was running for the South Carolina governorship, a college girl at the time. My mother had anything but politics on her mind. She wasn't at Magnolia Manor for 30 minutes before she noticed my father across the room. She made it her business to find out who he was. When she learned that he was a Stafford, she set her cap. The rest is history, a marriage of political dynasties. My mother's grandfather had been a North Carolina representative before his retirement, and her father was in office at the time of the wedding. The story makes me smile as I climb the manor's marble steps and punch the code into the incongruously modern keypad beside the front door. Important people live here still. Not just anyone is allowed to enter. Sadly, not just anyone is allowed to exit either. Behind the manor, the expansive grounds have been carefully fenced in. Decorative iron too tall to climb over. The gates are locked. The lake and reflecting pool can be looked at but not reached or fallen into. Many of the residents must be protected from themselves. That's the sad truth of it. As they decline, they move from one wing to the next, slowly progressing to higher levels of delicately provided care. There's no denying that Magnolia Manor is more upscale than the nursing home May Crandall lives in, but both places face the same underlying challenge: how to provide dignity, care, and comfort as life turns difficult corners. I wind my way to the memory care unit here. No one would even think of crassly calling it the Alzheimer's unit. I let myself through another locked door and into a salon where the television plays a rerun of Gunsmoke turned up loud. A woman by the window stares at me blankly as I pass. Beyond the glass, the climbing roses are dewy and fresh, pink and filled with life. The roses outside Grandma Judy's window are a cheery yellow. She's sitting in the wing-back chair, admiring them when I walk in. I stop one step inside the door and steel myself before drawing her attention from the plants. I prepare for her to look at me the same way the woman in the lounge did just now, without a hint of recognition. I hope she won't. There's never any telling. Hi, Grandma Judy. The words are bright and loud and cheerful. Even so, they take a minute to garner a reaction. She turns slowly, leafs through the scattered pages in her mind, then, in her usual sweet way, says, Hello, darling. How are you this afternoon? It's morning, of course. As I'd predicted, the DAR meeting ran late last night, and try as I might, I couldn't get away from the wedding interrogation. I was like a hapless grasshopper dropped into a hen house. My head is now full of suggestions, dates I shouldn't plan on because someone important will be out of town, and offers to loan china, silver, crystal, and linens. Wonderful, thank you. I tell Grandma Judy and cross the room to hug her, hoping the moment of closeness will draw a memory from her. For an instant, it seems too. She looks deep into my eyes, then finally sighs and says, You are so very pretty. What lovely hair you have. Touching it, she smiles. Sadness expands in my chest. I came here hoping for answers about May Crandall and the old photograph on her nightstand. That doesn't look very likely now. There was a little girl who had a little curl right in the middle of her forehead. My grandmother smiles up at me. Cool fingers with paper-thin skin stroke my cheek. And when she was good, she was very, very good, I add. Grandma, when I visited her house on, and when she was bad, she was horrid. She finishes and grins and winks, and we laugh together. It's just like old times. I sit in the chair across the little round table. I always loved it when you teased me with that rhyme. It's honeybee's home. Little girls were expected to be anything but horrid, but Grandma Judy had always been known for having a spunky streak that bordered on impropriety. She had spoken out on issues like civil rights and education for women long before it was acceptable for a female to have an opinion. She asked if I've seen Welly Boy, her pet name for my father, Wells. I filled her in on yesterday's press op and the town hall forum, then the long DAR meeting at Drayton Hill. I skip over the wedding chatter, of course. Grandma Judy nods with approval as I talk, narrowing an eye and offering shrewd comments about the town hall meeting. Wells mustn't let those people run riot over him. They'd love to catch a Stafford meddling in the dirt, but they won't. Of course not. He handled it beautifully, just like he always does. I don't mention how tired he looked or his seeming mental lapse under questioning. That's my boy. He's a very good boy. I don't know how he could have given rise to a girl who can be horrid. Grandma, I slap a hand over hers and squeeze. She's actually cracking jokes and drawing connections between us. It is a good day. I think it skipped a generation. I'm expecting a quick-witted retort. Instead, she says blandly, Oh, many things do. She sinks back in her chair, her hand pulling away from mine. I sense the moment fading. Grandma Judy, I wanted to ask you something. Oh? I met a woman yesterday. She said she knew you. May Crandall. Does that sound familiar? The names of old friends and acquaintances can often recall with ease. It's as if her memory book has fallen open. A persistent wind tearing out the most recent pages first. The older the memories are, the more likely they are to remain intact. May Crandall. As she repeats the name, I can tell immediately that she recognizes it. I'm already reaching for my phone to show her the photo when she says, No, doesn't ring any bells. I glance up from my purse, and she's looking at me very directly, thin white lashes narrowed over seawater eyes that suddenly seem strangely intense. I'm afraid we're about to have one of those moments where she stops in the middle of a conversation and without warning starts the visit over with something like, I didn't know you were coming today. How have you been? Instead, she says, Is there a reason you would ask? I met her yesterday at the nursing home. Yes, you said, but many people know of the Staffords, dear. We must always be careful. People look for scandal. Scandal? The word jolts me. Of course. The phone suddenly feels cold between my fingers. I didn't know we had any skeletons in the closet. Gracious, of course we do not. I scroll to the photo, look into the face of the young woman who reminds me even more of my grandmother now that I'm right across the table from her. She had this picture. Do you know the person in it? Maybe these are woodpile relatives. Maybe my grandmother doesn't want to acknowledge as part of the family tree. Every clan must have a few of those. Perhaps there was a cousin who ran off with the wrong sort of man and got pregnant. I turn the screen toward her, watch for her reaction. Queen, she murmurs, reaching out to pull the phone closer. Oh, moisture wells up in her eyes. It beads and spills over, sketching trails down her cheeks. Grandma Judy! She's a million miles away. Not miles, years away. She's remembering something. She knows who that is in the photo. Queen. What does that mean? Grandma Judy? Queenie. Her fingertip trails across the image. Then she turns my way with an intensity that bolts me to my chair. We mustn't let people find out, she says, her voice lowered. She glances toward the door, leans close, then adds in a whisper, they can never know about Arcadia. It's a moment before I can answer. My mind swirls. Have I ever heard her mention that word before? What? Grandma Judy, what's Arcadia? Shh! The sound is so sharp, she spits a fine spray across the table. If they ever found out. They who? The doorknob rattles, and she sits back in her chair, folds her hands neatly one over the other. An eye flash silently instructs me to do the same. I pretend to relax, but my head is cluttered with possibilities. Everything from a Watergate-style cover-up involving my grandfather to some secret society of political wives acting as Cold War spies. What has my grandmother been involved in? A friendly attendant enters with coffee and cookies. At Magnolia Manor, residents not only have meals, they also have snacks and drinks in between. My grandmother jerks a secretive backhand toward my phone, her head turning to the server. What do you want? The attendant isn't flustered by the uncharacteristically gruff greeting. Morning coffee, Mrs. Stamford? Yes, of course. Grandma Judy again covertly indicates that I should put the phone away. We'll enjoy a cup, certainly. I glance at the time. It's later than I thought. I'm supposed to join my father for a luncheon and ribbon cutting in Columbia, a golden opportunity to be seen rubbing elbows in the home state, as Leslie put it. Press will be there, as will the governor. With the recent rumbles about Washington insiders and career politicians, these local events matter. I get it. But what I really want to do is stay with Grandma Judy long enough to see if I can gain some clarity on this May Crandall issue and find out what Arcadia has to do with it. Maybe she's talking about a place? Arcadia, California? Arcadia, Florida? I really have to go, Grandma. I'm scheduled to accompany Daddy to a ribbon cutting. Heavens, then I shouldn't be holding you up. The attendant moves in and pours 2 cups of coffee anyway, just in case, she says. You could take it to go, my grandmother jokes. The coffee's in a china cup. I probably don't need any more this morning. I'll be bouncing off the walls. I just stopped by to ask you about May. Tss, a hiss and a raised finger stopped me from finishing the name. I'm given the snake eye as if I've just cursed in church. The attendant wisely gathers her cart and leaves the room. Grandma Judy whispers, Be careful, Rill. What? The intensity is once again startling. What's going on in that mind of hers? Rill? Is that a name? Ears, Grandma Judy points to hers, are everywhere. Just as quickly her mood changes. She sighs, tips up the tiny china pitcher and pours a dab into her coffee. Cream? I can't stay. Oh, I'm so sorry. I wish you had time for a visit. It was lovely of you to pop in. At this point, we've been chatting for at least 30 minutes. She's already forgotten. Arcadia, whatever it is, has disappeared into the mist. She has given me a smile as blank as a freshly washed blackboard. It's completely genuine. She's not sure who I am, but she's trying to be polite. Come again when you don't have to rush off. I will. I kiss her on the cheek and walk out of the room with no answers and even more questions. There's no way I can let this thing drop now. I need to find out what I'm dealing with here. I'll have to unearth some other source of information, and I know where I intend to start digging. So, chapter 8, Rill. I'm going to move over here. Oh, she's going to start digging. Well, I guess it's probably her father's side. I'm guessing that he's the one that the grandmother is like biologically related to, so the shadow of the big white house slides over the car. And we're on chapter 8, by the way. Yeah. Swallowing it whole, tall, thick magnolia trees line the curb, making a leafy green wall that reminds me of Sleeping Beauty's castle. It hides us from the street where kids play in yards and moms push prams along the sidewalks. There's a baby carriage on the front porch of this house. It's old and a wheel is missing, so it leans. It'd likely dump the baby out if you put one in it. A little boy squats in one of the magnolia trees like a monkey. He's about a lark size, maybe 5 or 6. He watches us drive in, but doesn't smile or wave or move. When the car stops, he disappears into the leaves. A second later, I see him crawl from the tree and squeeze under an iron fence that circles the backyard of this house and the place beside it. The little building next door looks like it might have been a school or a church once. Some kids are playing on the teeter-totters and swings there, but the doors and windows are boarded shut, and there's hardly any paint on the wood. Brambles grow over the front porch, which makes me think of Sleeping Beauty again. Camellia stretches upward from the floorboard to see. This is the hospital? She gives Miss Tan a look to let her know she don't believe it for a minute. My sister has rested up on the drive, and she's ready for another fight. Miss Tan turns her way and shifts Gaby in. Oh, thank you, Jerry. Reading Beauties, thank you. Who's gone plumb asleep on her lap. His little arm flops down, chubby fingers gripping and ungripping. His lips move like he's blowing kisses in a dream. You can't go to the hospital looking like that, now can you? Stinking of the river and infested with vermin. Miss Murphy will take care of you, and if you are very, very good, then we will see about the hospital. A hope spark tries to catch fire in me, but I can't find it much tinder. It snuffs out when Miss Tan looks my way. Fern crawls up my chest, her knees poking into my belly. I want briny, she whines. Hop to, time to go inside. You'll be just fine here. Miss Tan tells us if you're good. Am I understood? Yes, I try to answer for all of us, but Camelia's not giving up so easy. Where's Briny? She ain't happy about this whole thing, and she's working up to a blind mad fit over it. I can feel it like a storm blowing in. Hush, Camelia, I snap. Do what she says. Miss Tan smiles a little. Very good, you see. All this can be quite simple. Miss Murphy will take care of you. She waits for the driver to come around and open the car door. Then she climbs out first, taking my little brother and pulling Lark by the hand.
Lark looks at me with wide eyes, but like always, she won't bite. She's quiet as a kitten in the hay. You next. The woman wants me, and I scoot across, my knees knocking into the brown-eyed boy and girl on the floorboard. Fern wraps her arms around my neck, so tight I almost can't get a breath. You two now. The kids who were in the car before us clamber out into the driveway. Now you. Miss Tan's voice lowers when she looks at Camellia. She turns Gabian and Lark over to me and stands right at the car door, her legs braced apart, her body blocking the way out. She's not a small woman. She towers over me and looks strong. Come on along, Camellia. I'm begging her to be good, and she knows what I'm asking. So far, she hasn't moved an inch. She's got her hand around behind her back, and I'm afraid she's planning to try the other door. What use would there be in that? We don't know where we are or how to get back to the river or find the hospital. Our only hope is that if we're good, like Miss Tan says, we really will get to see Briny and Queen, or that Silas will teach them what happened and our folks will come find us. Camelia's shoulder jerks a little, and I hear the handle click. The door sticks, and Camelia's nose flares. She turns around to push, and Miss Tan sighs and leans inside. When she lumbers back out, she's dragging Camellia by her clothes. That is enough of that. You will straighten up and behave yourself. Camellia, stop, I yell. Camellia, no, no. Fern's voice is like an echo. Gideon throws back his head and screams, the sound bouncing off the house and floating into the trees. Miss Tan twists her grip so she's got a good hold on Camellia. Do we understand one another? Her round cheeks are red and sweaty. Her gray eyes bug out behind her glasses. When Camellia squeezes her lips tight, I think Miss Tan might swat that look right off her face, but she doesn't. Instead, she whispers something close to Camelia's ear, then stands over her. We'll be just fine now, won't we? Camelia's mouth still looks like she sucked a lemon. The moment teeters like a bottle on the edge of the Arcadia's deck, waiting to topple down and be swept off in the river. Won't we? Miss Tan repeats. Camelia's dark eyes burn, but she nods. Very well, then. Miss Tan puts us in a line, and Camellia marches up the steps with the rest of us. From behind the iron fence, boys and girls of all sizes watch. Not a single one smiles. Inside, the big house smells. The curtains are pulled everywhere, and it's shadowy. There's a wide staircase in the front hall. Two boys sit on the top step. One of them reminds me of Silas, but bigger, except his hair is red as fox fur. These boys don't look a thing like the kids in the yard or the boy in the tree. They can't all be brothers and sisters. Who are they? How many are there? Do they live here? Are they all here to clean up so they can see their mamas and daddies at the hospital? What is this place? We're taken into a room where a woman waits behind a desk. She's small compared to Miss Tan. Her arms so thin the bones and veins show. Her nose pokes from her glasses, hooked like an owl's beak. It wrinkles when she looks at us. Then she smiles and stands and greets Miss Tan. How are you today, Georgia? Very well, thank you, Miss Murphy. It has been quite a productive morning, I dare say. I can see that it has. Stroking her fingers along the desk, Miss Murphy draws trails in the dust as she moves toward us. One side of her lip comes up, and an eye tooth flashes. Good gracious, where did you unearth these little waifs? The kids cluster close to me, even the ones I don't know. I hang on to Fern on one hip and Gabian on the other. My arms are starting to go numb, but I'm not letting go. Aren't they a pitiful lot, Miss Tan says. I do believe we've removed them just in time. Have you space for all of them? It will be the simplest thing. I expect to move some of them quite quickly. Look at that hair. Miss Murphy comes closer, and Miss Tan follows. Miss Tan's bulky body shuffles side to side as she walks. For the first time, I notice that she's got a bum leg. Yes, quite something, isn't it? Four curly blondes, all from the same family, and that one. She snorts and turns an eye on Camellia. Oh, surely she isn't one of this batch. Miss Murphy looks at me. Is this your sister? Yes, I say, and her name is Camellia. Quite a fancy name for such a common little thing. And all those silly freckles. Looks as though the stork dropped you in the wrong nest. She isn't one to cooperate, Miss Tan warns. We had trouble with her already. A little black sheep in more ways than one. Miss Murphy's eyes narrow. Oh my. Well, I do expect good behavior in this house. Those who fail to meet my expectations will not be allowed to keep company above stairs with the rest of the children. She runs her tongue along her teeth. My skin turns cold. Fern and Gabian wrap their arms tighter around my neck. It's clear enough what Miss Murphy means. If Camellia makes her mad, they'll take her away and put her someplace else. Camellia nods, but I can tell she don't mean it a bit. These other two with the dirt blonde hair were found along the way. Miss Tan gathers the boy and girl who rode on the floor with Camellia. Both have long, straight, straw brown hair and big brown eyes. The way the little boy is hanging onto the girl, I'm sure she's his big sister. More river rats, of course, although the camp down there was nearly empty. They must have gotten word somehow. Such darling faces. Yes, truly. These with the curls are almost angelic. They'll be in great demand, I predict. Miss Murphy pulls away, but good gracious, they stink of the river. I can't have that in my house, certainly. They'll have to stay outside until bath time. Don't let them out until you're certain they fully understand the rules here. Miss Tan drops a hand on Camelia's shoulder, and Camelia's head twitches so that I can tell the woman's fingers are digging in hard. This one is a runner. She tried to bolt from the car, of all things. Those cows along the river bottom do know how to produce them, but not how to teach them to behave. This batch will need some work. Of course, don't they all? Miss Murphy nods. She focuses on me again. And your name is? Rill False. I try not to say anything more, but it spills out. I can't make sense of what they're talking about, and my heart is pounding. My knees tremble under the weight of my baby brother and sister, but that's not the only reason. I'm scared to death. Miss Tan plans to leave us here. For how long? When can we go see our mama and daddy? They're at the hospital. Mama had a baby and... Hush, Miss Murphy says. First things first, you will take the children into the hallway and sit them on the floor along the stairwell wall, smallest to largest. Wait there, and I'll expect no noise and no shenanigans. Understood. But Miss Tan lays a hand on my shoulder, this time. Her fingers squeeze around the bone. I do not expect to have trouble from you. Surely you are smarter than your sister. A pain shoots down my arm. I feel Gabian slipping. Yes, ma'am. She lets go of me. I hike Gabby up again. I want to rub my shoulder, but I don't. And Rill, what sort of a name is that? It's from the river. My daddy gave it to me. He says it sounds pretty as a song. Well, call you something proper. A real name for a real girl. May will do. May Weathers. But I'm May. Oh, okay, so she's real. Now we know. May. She shoos me. I'm out the door. The other kids dragging along with me. Camellia gets warned again not to do anything except sit quiet in the hallway. Yeah, and I'm thinking Camellia is Judy. Yeah. The little ones whine and whimper like puppies as I try to skin them off and set them down. Up the stairs, the two boys are gone. Somewhere outside, kids play Red Rover. I know that game from the schools we've gone to. When it's the school year, Queenie and Briny usually try and tie up someplace near a river town so Camellia and me and now Lark can go. The rest of the time we read books and Bryony teaches us arithmetic. He can make a cipher out of almost anything. Camellia is a whiz at numbers. Even Fern knows her alphabet already. And she's still too young for school. Next fall, Lark will start first grade. Lark looks up at me now with her big mouse eyes, and a sick feeling bubbles in me like a black water eddy. It's got no place to go. It just spins round and round in circles. Are they taking us to jail? The little girl, the one whose name I don't even know, whispers. No, of course not, I say. They don't put little kids in jail, do they? Camelia's eyes slant toward the front door. She's wondering whether she can light out of here and get away with it. Don't. I spit under my breath. Miss Murphy told us not to make noise. The better we are, the more chance they'll take us where we want to go, I figure. We need to stay together. Brian's going to come get us soon. He knows we're not on the Arcadia. Soon Silas tells him what happened. We've got to be all in one place when he shows up, you hear me? I sound like Queenie when there's breaking ice on the water, and she won't let us hang over the rail in case a floe might hit the boat and shake us off the river. Times like that, she wants us to know she means it when she says no. She don't get that way too often. Everybody nods but Camellia. Even the other little girl and boy nod. Amelia? Mm-hmm. She gives in and pulls her knees up and crosses her arms and sticks her face in the middle, letting her head bump hard enough to make sure we know she ain't happy about it. I ask the other kids' names and neither one will say a word. Big tears roll down the little boy's cheeks, and his sister hugs him close. A bird flies into the front door glass and hits with a thud, and all of us jump. I stretch to see if it got up and flew off okay. It's a pretty little red bird. Maybe he's the one we heard by the river, and he followed us here. Now he staggers around, his feathers glittery bright in the long, lazy afternoon sun. I wish I could scoop him up before a cat can get him. We saw at least 3 in the bushes on the way in, but I'm afraid to. Miss Han will think I'm trying to run. Lark gets up on her knees to see, her lip trembling. He'll be all right, I whisper. Sit down, be good. She does like she's told. The bird wobbles off toward the steps so that I have to crawl away from the wall a little to see him. Fly, I think. Hurry up, fly off before they get you. But he just stays there, his beak hanging open. Oh, thank you, Malimo. His whole body panting. Fly away, go home. I keep watch. If a cat comes, maybe I can scare it off through the window. Words drift from under a door across the hall. I stand up real careful and tiptoe closer. I was going to say, it's so hard to see things die when you're a kid, but I think at any age. But I just remember I had a pet mouse when I was a kid, and when it died, because my cat killed it, it broke into its little plastic container and pulled it out and ate it. And I was devastated. There was no greater death in the history of humanity than that cat that I had for 4 days. Or I'm sorry, that mouse that I had. How could you do it? How could you do it? Yeah, I cried and cried. Good kitty, shut up. Anyway, so I can see it, but it's like real sad seeing a bird. Okay. I catch bits and pieces of what Miss Tan and Miss Murphy are saying, but none of it makes sense. Surrender papers right at the hospital and the 5 siblings. Simple and straightforward. The easiest way to sever ties. The most difficult thing was finding the exact location of their shanty boat, actually. It was moored by itself across from Mud Island. The police tell me the little freckle-faced one tried to swim out through the loo. That's more than just the river you caught a whiff of. Laughter twitters, but it's sharp like a raven's call. and the other two found them picking flowers near a hive of shantyboat vermin. We'll have their papers issued soon enough. Certainly it won't be any trouble. They seem quite mild-mannered, too. Sherry and Stevie. Those should do for names. Best to begin retraining them immediately. They are darling, aren't they? And young. They might not stay long. We've a viewing party planned next month. I'll expect them to be ready. Oh, they will be. May, Iris, Bonnie, Beth, and Robbie for the other five, I think. Weathers should do for the last name. May Weathers, Iris Weathers, Bonnie Weathers. It has a ring to it. Laughter comes again. It rises high and loud, so it pushes me back from the door. The last words I hear are Miss Murphy's. I'll see to it. You can rest assured that they'll be properly prepared. By the time they come out, I've scooted into my place and checked that everyone is lined real neat along the wall. Even Camellia picks up her head and sits Indian style, the way we do in school. We wait, still as statues, while Miss Murphy walks Miss Tan to the door. Only our eyes turn to watch them talk on the porch. The little red bird has hopped to the stairs, but he just sits there helpless. Neither of them notice. Fly away! I think of Queenie's red hat. Fly all the way to Queenie and tell her where to find us. Fly! Miss Tan limps a few steps, almost hitting the bird. My breath turns solid and Lark gasps. Then Miss Tan stops to say something else. When we start off again, the red bird finally flies away. He'll let Bryony know where we are. Miss Murphy comes back inside, but she's not smiling. She goes into the room across the hall and closes the door. We sit and wait. Camellia buries her face again. Fern lays on my shoulder. The little girl, Sherry, Miss Tan called her, holds her baby brother's hand. I'm hungry, he whispers. I'm hungry. Gabian echoes way too loud. Shh! His hair feels soft under my hand, and I rub his head. We have to be quiet, like hide and seek, like a game. He clamps his mouth and tries his best. Being only 2, he's always left out of our let's pretend games on the Arcadia, so he's happy to be part of it this time. I wish this was a good game. I wish I knew the rules and what we get if we win. Right now, all we can do is sit and wait for whatever happens next. We sit and sit and sit. It seems like forever before Miss Murphy comes out. I'm hungry too, but I can tell by her face we best not ask. She stands over us with her fists poked into her sides, her hip bones sticking out under her flower black dress. 7 more, she says, frowning and looking up the stairs. A breath comes out and sinks like fog. It smells bad. Well, there isn't any choice about it. What with your parents unable to care for you? Where's Bryony? Where's Queenie? Camellia blurts out. You will be silent. Miss Murphy teeters on her feet as she moves down the line of us. And now I know what I smelled like. I smelled when she came out the door. Whiskey. It's been around enough pool halls to recognize it. Miss Murphy stabs a finger toward Camellia. You are the reason everyone must sit here rather than go outside and play. She stomps off down the hall, her steps drawing a crooked line. We sit. The little ones finally sleep, and Gabian falls flat on the floor. A few other kids pass by, older and younger, boys and girls. Most wear clothes that are too big or too small. Not a single one looks our way. They walk through like they don't notice we're there. Women in white dresses with white aprons move up and down the hall in a hurry. They don't see us either. I wrap my fingers around my ankles and squeeze hard to make sure I'm still there. I almost think I've turned into the invisible man, like Mr. H.G. Wells wrote about. Bryony loves that story. He's read it to us a lot, and Camellia and me play it with the kids in the river camps. Nobody can see the invisible man. I close my eyes and pretend a while. Fern needs the potty, and before I can figure out what to do about it, she wets herself. A dark-haired woman in a white uniform walks by and spots the mess running across the floor. She grabs Fern up by the arm. We will have none of that here. You'll use the bathroom properly. She pulls a sack towel from her apron and throws it over the mess. Clean that up, she tells me. Miss Murphy will have a fit. She takes Fern with her, and I do what she says. When Fern comes back, her drawers and dress have been washed out, and she's wearing them wet. The lady tells the rest of us we can go to the bathroom too, but to hurry up about it and sit down by the stairs again. We haven't been back in our places long before someone blows a whistle outside. I hear kids clamoring around, lots of them. They don't talk, but their footsteps echo beyond the door at the end of the hall. They're in there a while, and then there's a racket, like they're hurrying upstairs, but not the stairs next to us. Overhead, the boards creak and groan the way the gunwales and planking do on the Arcadia. It's a home sound, and I close my eyes to listen and pretend I can wish us back aboard our safe little boat. My wish dries up pretty quickly. A woman in a white dress stops by and says, "Come this way." "Oh, thank you, LaRoyal." We climb to our feet to follow. Camellia goes first, and we keep the little kids between us, even Sherry and Stevie. The lady takes us through the door at the end of the hall, and everything looks a lot different back there. It's plain and old. Strips of paper and cheesecloth hang off the wall. There's a kitchen to one side where two colored women are busy with a kettle on the stove. I hope we'll get to eat soon. My stomach feels like it's shrunk to the size of a peanut. Even thinking that makes me hungry for peanuts. A big staircase rises off to the other side of the kitchen. Most of the paint's rubbed off like it's been walked on a lot. Half the bars are missing from the railing. A couple loose ones hang out like the leftover teeth on old Zed's smile. The woman in the white uniform takes us upstairs and stands us along a hallway wall. Other kids form lines nearby, and I hear water running in a tub someplace. No talking, the woman says. You will quietly wait here until it's your turn for the bath. You will take off your clothing now and fold it neatly in a pile at your feet, all of it. Blood prickles in my skin, hot and sticky, and I look around to see that all the other kids, big and small, are already doing what we've just been told to do. Chapter 9. Avery. May Crandall. Are you sure that name isn't familiar? I'm sitting in the limo with my mother and father, en route to the ribbon-cutting ceremony in Columbia. She's the one who found my bracelet at the nursing home yesterday. I say found because it sounded better than lifted it right off my wrist. The Greer design with the garnet dragonflies, the one Grandma Judy gave me. I think this woman recognized it. Your grandmother wore that bracelet frequently. Anyone who'd seen her in it certainly might remember it. It's quite unique. Mom searches her memory banks, her perfectly lined lips compressing. No, I really don't recall that name. Perhaps she's one of the Asheville Crandalls. I dated a boy from that family when I was young, before your father, of course. Did you ask who her people are? For Honeybee, as with all well-bred Southern women of her generation, this is a natural question upon meeting. Wonderful to know you. Isn't this a lovely day? Now tell me, who are your people? I didn't think to ask. Honestly, Avery, what are we going to do with you? Send me to the woodshed? My father chuckles, looking up from a briefcase filled with documents he's been reading. Now, Honeybee, I have been keeping her busy, and nobody can file away all those details the way you do. Mom swats at him playfully. Oh, hush. He catches her hand and kisses it. I'm pinned in the middle. I feel 13 years old. Ew, PDA, y'all. Since coming home, I've readopted words like y'all, which I had expunged from my vocabulary. Up north, they're good words, I've now decided. Like the humble boiled peanut, they serve perfectly in many situations. Do you recall a May Crandall, Wells, a friend of your mother's? Honeybee retracts our conversation. I don't think so. Dad reaches up to scratch his head. Then remembers that he has been amply hairsprayed. Outdoor occasions require extra preparation. Nothing worse than ending up in the newspaper looking like alfalfa. Leslie made sure I pulled my hair back. Honeybee and I match, actually. It's French twist day. Arcadia, I blurt out, just to see if the word draws a reaction. Was that one of Grandma Judy's clubs? Or maybe a bridge circle? Or did she know someone who lived in Arcadia? Neither my mother nor my father seems to have any unusual reaction to the word. Arcadia, Florida? Mom wants to know. I'm not sure. It came up in the conversation about her bridge groups. I don't tell her the way Grandma Judy said it left me uneasy. How can I find out more? You're awfully concerned about this. I almost pull out my phone to show her the photo. Almost. My hand stops halfway to my purse. And I smooth my skirts instead. The ember of a new worry is clearly visible in my mother's face. She doesn't need one more thing to stress about. If I show her the photo, she'll be certain a nefarious scheme is being perpetrated and May Crandall wants something from us. My mother is a professional worrier. I'm really not concerned, Mama. I was just curious. The woman seems so lonely. That's sweet of you, but Grandma Judy wouldn't be much company for her, even if they did know one another. I've just had to ask the Monday girls not to visit Magnolia Manor anymore. Too many old friends stopping by just frustrates your grandmother. She's embarrassed that she can't place names and faces. It's harder when it's not family. She worries that people are talking about her. Oh, thank you again, Malimo. I know. Maybe I should let this go, but the question nags me. It whispers and pesters and teases. It will not leave me alone all afternoon. We chat, we schmooze. It will we clap when my father cuts the ribbon. We spend time in the VIP lounge at the local country club, rubbing elbows with the governor and talking with corporate higher ups. I'm even able to offer some free legal advice on the battle over natural gas fracking and ongoing legislation that could throw the doors wide open to it in neighboring North Carolina. Economy versus environment. So often it comes down to these two heavyweights duking it out in the ring of public opinion and, of course, upcoming legislation. Even as I'm discussing the cost benefit questions, I honestly do care about passionately. In the back of my mind, I'm thinking of the cell phone in my purse and Grandma Judy's reaction to the photo. I know she recognized the woman, Queen or Queenie. It's not a coincidence. It can't be. Arcadia what? In the car, on our way back to my father's Aiken office, I offer up a few innocent sounding excuses to slip away from my parents for a while, errands and whatnot. The truth is, I'm going to see May Crandall again. If there is something going on here, I'm better off knowing about it. Then I can decide what needs to be done. Daddy actually seems a little disappointed that we're parting ways. He has a strategy meeting with his staff before finally going home for supper. He was hoping I'd sit in. Oh, for heaven's sake, Wells, Avery is allowed a personal life. Mom interjects. She has a handsome young fiancé to keep up with, remember? Her slim shoulders rise, and she offers me a conspiratorial smile and a wedding to plan. They can't plan it if they never talk. The end of the sentence arises, sing-song with anticipation. She pats my knee and leans close. A meaningful look flashes my way. Let's get the show on the road, it says. She busies herself with her purse, lets a moment pass, and pretends to be casually switching topics. The gardener brought in some new form of mulch the other day for the azaleas, a recommendation from Bitsy's landscaper. They put it out last fall, and their azaleas were twice as thick as ours. Next spring, the gardeners at Drayton Hill will be the envy of, well, everyone. Around the end of March, it should be just heavenly. The phrase perfect for a wedding hangs unsaid in the air. When we announced our engagement, Elliot made Bitsy and Honeybee promise they wouldn't sweep in and hijack the decision-making process. It's killing them, really. They'd have this thing all sewn up if we just get out of the way, but we're determined to make plans our own time in the way we think is best. Right now, my father and Honeybee should be focusing 100% on Dad's health, not worrying about wedding arrangements. You can tell Honeybee that, though. I pretended not to get the drift. I think Jason could grow roses in the desert. Jason has managed the gardens at Drayton Hill since long before I left for college. He'd be thrilled to have the chance to show them off. But Elliot will never go for a wedding idea that originated with the moms. Elliot loves his mother, but as an only child, he's exhausted by their constant focus on arranging his life. One thing at a time, I tell myself. Daddy, cancer, politics, those are the big three right now. We pull up in front of the office. The driver opens the door for us, and I slip out, glad that I'm free. One last thinly veiled hint follows me out the door. Tell Elliot to thank his mother for the suggestion about the azaleas. I will, I promise, and then hurry off to my car, where I do call Elliot. He doesn't pick up. Chances are he's in a meeting, even though it's after 5. His financial clients are international, so demands come in around the clock. I leave a quick message about the azaleas. He'll get a laugh out of that. And he often needs it at the end of a high-stress day. A block down the road, I get a call from my middle sister, Allison. Hey, Allie, what's up? I say. Allison laughs, but she sounds frazzled. The triplets are fussing in the background. Is there any way at all you could pick Courtney up from dance class? The boys are sick, and we've been through 3 sets of clothes today already. And yeah, we're naked again, all 4 of us. Court's probably standing outside the dance studio, wondering where in the world I am. I make a quick U-turn toward Miss Hannah's, where I was a ballet and pageant class failure back in the day. Fortunately, Court has real talent. At her spring recital, she was amazing. Sure, of course, I'll do it. I'm not even very far away. I can be there to get her in 10. Allison answers with a long sigh of relief. Thank you. You're a lifesaver. Today, you're my favorite sister. It's been a running joke since childhood, the question of who was Allison's favorite. As the middle kid, she had her pick. Missy was older and more interesting, but I was younger and could be bossed around. I laughed softly. Well, that's totally worth an extra trip across town. And please don't tell Mama the boys are sick. She'll come over here, and I don't want to take any chances on Daddy being exposed, whatever this bug is. Drop Courtney off at Sheila's house. I'll text the address to you. I already called Shelly's house. I already called Shelly's mom. They're fine with Court spending the night. Okay, will do. Of the 3 of us, Allison is the most akin to Honeybee. She operates like a 4-star general, but since the boys came along, she's been overpowered by an invading army. I'm almost at the studio. I'll text you once I've rescued your daughter. We hang up, and a few minutes later, I'm pulling up to Miss Hannah's. Courtney is standing out front. She brightens when I see that she hasn't been abandoned. Hang on, Aves, she says as she slides into the car. Hey yourself. Mom, forget me again? She rolls her eyes and lets her head sag to one side, a motion that makes her seem way more than 10 years old. No, I was just lonesome for you. I thought we could hang out and go to the park, slide down the slide, play in the play fort, that kind of thing. Okay, seriously, Aunt Aves. It bothers me that she's so quick to reject the idea. She's too grown up for her own good. Wasn't it just yesterday? She was tugging my pants leg and begging me to climb trees with her at Drayton Hill. All right, your mom did call me to pick you up, but only because the boys are sick. I'm supposed to take you to Shelley's house. Her face lights up and she straightens in the passenger seat. Oh, awesome. I give her the stink eye and she adds, not about the boys being sick, I mean. I offer an ice cream. Stop. our favorite activity once upon a time. But she tells me she's not hungry. She only has eyes for Shelly's house, so I turned the GPS and strike out in that direction. She whips out her cell phone to text Shelly, and my thoughts switch tracks. Oh, thank you again, Jerry. My sweeties. My sweeties. Arcadia and May Crandall overshadow the pangs of watching my niece rush headlong toward teenagerhood. What will May's response be when I ask her about that word Arcadia? It's looking less likely that I'll find out today. By the time I drop Courtney off, it'll be supper hour at the nursing home. The staff will be busy, and so will May. I turn off the main road and wind through tree-clad streets lined with stately turn of the century homes, surrounded by perfectly manicured lawns and gardens. We've gone quite a few blocks before I realize why the trip to Shelley's house has such a familiar feel to it. Grandma Judy's home on Lagniappe is not far away. Hey, Court, want to run by Grandma Judy's house with me before I drop you at Shelley's? I don't like the idea of going alone, but it has just occurred to me that there might be some answers to be found among Grandma Judy's belongings. Courtney lowers the phone, giving me a bemused look. It's kind of creepy on Abe's. Nobody there, but all Grandma Judy's stuff is still around. Her bottom lip pouts outward. Big blue eyes regard me earnestly. It's hard for the kids to accept their rapid change in Grandma Judy. This is their first real brush with mortality. I'll go with you if you really need me to. No, that's all right. I continue past the turnoff. There's no reason to involve Courtney. I'll run over to Lagniappe after I drop Cora at her friend's. She's clearly relieved. Okay, thanks for picking me up today. Aunt Abe's. Anytime, kiddo. A few minutes later, she's trotting up the driveway to Shelley's house, and I'm bound for Lagniappe Street and the past. Blunt-force grief strikes me as I pull into the drive and step from the car. Everywhere I look, there's a memory. The roses I helped my grandmother tend, the willow tree where I played house with the little girl from down the street, and the Cinderella Castle bay window upstairs, the yawning porch that served as a backdrop for prom photos, the water garden where the multicolored koi bobbed for cracker crumbs. I can almost feel my grandmother on the Charleston-style piazza along the side of the house. Climbing the stairs, I half expect her to be there. It's painful to realize that she's not. I'll never again come to this place and be greeted by my grandmother. In the backyard, the greenhouse is stale and dusty smelling. The moist, earthy scents are gone. The shelves and pots have been removed too. No doubt my mother gave them to someone who could use them. The hidden key is right where it has always been. It catches a beam of late afternoon light as I remove a loose brick along the foundation. From there, it's easy enough to slip inside and turn off the alarm. After that, I stand in the living room thinking, what's next? The floorboards crackle beneath me and I jump, even though it's an old familiar sound. Courtney was right. The house seems vacant and spooky. No longer the second home it has always been. From the age of 13 on, I stayed here during the school year whenever my parents were in DC, so I could attend classes in Aiken with my friends. Now I feel like a sneak thief. This is silly anyway. You don't even know what you're looking for. Photos, maybe? Is the woman on May Crandall's nightstand in any of the old albums? Grandma Judy has always been the family historian, the keeper of the Stafford lineage, the one who tirelessly pecks out labels on her old manual typewriter and attaches them to things. There isn't a stick of furniture, a painting, piece of artwork, or a photo in this house that isn't carefully marked with its origins and previous owners. Her personal items, any that matter, are similarly stored. The dragonfly bracelet came to me in a well-worn box with a yellowed note taped to the bottom. July 1966, a gift. Moonstones for a first photograph sent back from the moon by American exploratory spacecraft surveyor. Garnets for love, dragonflies for water, sapphires and onyx for remembrance. Custom by Greer Designs. Damon Greer, designer. Beneath that, she added, for Avery, because you are the one to dream new dreams and blaze new trails. May the dragonflies take you to places beyond your imaginings. It's strange. I now realize that she didn't say whom the gift was from. I wonder if I can find that information in her appointment books. Never a week passed that she didn't carefully document the details of her days, keeping track of everyone she saw, what she wore, what was served at meals. If she and May Crandall were friends or shared a bridge circle, May's name will probably be there. Someday you'll read these and know all my secrets, she told me once when I asked her why she was so meticulous about writing everything down. The comment seems like permission now, but as I pass through the shadowy house, guilt niggles at me. It's not as though my grandmother has passed away. She's still here. What I'm doing amounts to snooping, yet I can't get past the feeling that she wants me to understand something, that this is important somehow for both of us. In her little office off the library, her last appointment book still sits on the desk. The page is open to the day she disappeared for 8 hours and ended up lost and confused at the former shopping mall, a Thursday. The handwriting is barely legible. It trembles and runs downhill. It looks nothing like my grandmother's lovely curving script. Trent Turner Edisto is the only notation for that day. Edisto? Is that what happened when she disappeared? Somehow she thought she was going to the cottage on Edisto Island to meet someone. Maybe she had a dream overnight and woke up believing it was real. Perhaps she was reliving some event from the past. Who is Trent Turner? I leaf through more pages. There's no mention of May Crandall among Grandma Judy's social engagements over the past months. Yet, somehow, May gave me the impression they'd seen each other recently. The farther back I go, the clearer the handwriting becomes. I feel myself sinking into the familiar routines around which I once shadowed my grandmother. Events for the Federation Women's Club, the library board, and the DAR, the garden club in the spring. It's painful to realize that 7 months ago, before her rapid downward spiral, she was still functioning reasonably well, still keeping up her social calendar, though a friend or two had mentioned to my parents that Judy has been having some lapses. I leaf through more pages, wondering, remembering, thinking about this watershed year. Life can turn on a dime. The appointment book reinforces my new awareness of this. We plan our days, but we don't control them. My grandmother's January notes begin with a single line scrawled haphazardly in the margin just before New Year's Day. Edisto and Trent Turner. She'd written again. There's a phone number jotted underneath. Maybe she was talking to someone about having work done on the cottage. That's hard to imagine. My dad's personal secretary has been handling Grandma Judy's affairs since my grandfather died 7 years ago. If there were any arrangements to be made, she would have taken care of them. There's one way to find out, I guess. I grab my cell and dial the number. The phone rings once, twice. I start wondering what I'm going to say if someone answers. I'm not sure why I'm calling. I found your name in an old notebook at my grandmother's house, and what? A machine picks up. Turner Real Estate. This is Trent. There's no one here to answer the phone right now, but if you leave a message. A real estate? I'm gobsmacked. Was Grandma Judy thinking about selling the Edisto place? That's hard to fathom. The cottage has been in her family since before she married my grandfather. She loves it. My parents would have told me if we were letting go of the place. There must be another explanation. But since I have no way of knowing, I return to my browsing. In the closet, I find the rest of her appointment books stored in a well-worn barrister bookcase, right where they've always been. They're neatly arranged and ordered from the year she married my grandfather to the present. Just for fun, I take out the oldest one. The milky leather cover is dry and crazed with brown cracks so that it looks like a piece of antique china. Inside, the handwriting is loopy and girlish. Notations about sorority parties, college exams, bridal showers, china patterns, and date nights with my grandfather fill the pages. In one of the margins, she has practiced signing her soon to be married name. The flourish is on the letters testifying to the giddiness of first love. Visited Harold's parents at Drayton Hill, one entry says. Horseback riding, took a few fences. Harold said not to tell his mother. She wants us in one piece for the wedding. I have found my prince. Not the slightest bit of doubt. Emotion gathers in my throat. It's bittersweet. Not the slightest bit of doubt. Did she really feel that way? Did she really just know it was right when she met my grandfather? Should Elliot and I have experienced some sort of lightning bolt rather than the relaxed drift from childhood adventures to adult friendship to dating to engagement? Because after 6 years of dating, it seems like it's time. Is there something wrong with us because we haven't tumbled in head first? Because we're not in a rush? My cell phone rings. I grab it, wanting it to be him. The voice on the other end is male and friendly, but it isn't Elliot's. Hello, this is Trent Turner. I had a call from this number. Sorry I missed you. What can I help you with? Oh. Every possible icebreaker flies from my mind, and I blurt out, I found your name in my grandmother's date book. Papers shuffle in the background. Did we have an appointment set up here in a disto? I look at a cottage to look at a cottage or something, or is this about a rental? I don't know what it's about, actually. I was hoping you could tell me. My grandmother has been experiencing some health problems, and I'm trying to make sense of the notes on her schedule. What day was the appointment for? I'm not sure if she had one. I thought she might have called you about selling a property, the Myers cottage. It's not uncommon around here for properties to be known by the names of people who owned them decades ago. My grandmother's parents built the Edisto house as a place to escape the hot, sticky summers inland. Stafford, Judy Stafford. I prepare myself for the change in tone that almost invariably comes with the name. Anywhere in the state, people either love us or hate us, but they usually know who we are. Stafford, he mutters. Maybe he's not from around here. Come to think of it, his accent doesn't even hint at Charleston. Maybe it's low country, but there's some sort of drawl there. Texas, maybe? Having spent so much of my childhood mingling with kids from other places, I'm good with accents, both foreign and. There's a strange pause. His tone is more guarded afterward. I've only been here about 9 months, but I can promise you that no one's ever called here about selling or renting the Myers cottage. Sorry I can't be of more help. Suddenly, he's trying to shuffle me off the phone. Why? If it was before the first of the year, my grandfather, Trent Sr., was probably the one she was talking to, but he passed away over 6 months ago. Oh, my condolences. I instantly feel a kinship that goes beyond his presence in a place I have always dearly loved. Any idea what my grandmother was in touch with him about? There's another uncomfortable pause, as if he is carefully weighing his words. Yes, actually, he had some papers for her. That's really all I can say. The lawyer in me surfaces. I catch the scent of a reluctant witness who's harboring information. What kind of papers? I'm sorry, I promised my grandfather. Promise what? If she'll come down here herself, I can give her the envelope you left for her. Alarm bells ring in my head. What in the world is going on? She isn't able to travel. Then I can't help you. I'm sorry. Just like that, he hangs up. All right, that's the end of chapter 9. We'll pick it up on chapter 10 tomorrow. Whatever's in the envelope, I'm thinking it's going to be something that's like reveals
the adoption something like. Yeah. Oh, thank you guys. You're so sweet. Oh, such a long day, but I still feel like a little buzzy from like so much. And then tomorrow, the tree. Wish me luck with that. But I will see you tomorrow. I love you so much. Hopefully, one day things get easier. Mm. Good night.